Welcome back to the Super Sim series, where I've decided to make just one sim who will gain almost every trait, master every skill, graduate with all of the university degrees, reach the top of every career, and complete every collection. Last episode, Tina became the ultimate supervillain, finishing the Sticky Fingers, Seeker of Secrets, Villainous Valentine, and the Leader of the Pack aspirations, which she completed while enacting her devious plan of overthrowing Rhiannon and becoming the leader of the Underworld Club. It had been a long and rather messy journey that saw new relationships form, new evil ghostly abilities unlock, her fabulous robot Wheelo reach max enhancement level and move out, and her household funds explode off the back of a crime spree that saw her steal a huge range of expensive art and sculptures. But despite becoming the ultimate supervillain, Tina wasn't finished with the life of crime. She had just come up with another diabolical plan, and it was time to put it into action. To kickstart things, she moved out of her underground bunker in Oasis Springs and into a gorgeous painter's retreat located on the remote crumbling isle in Windenburg. 13 target sims had remained on her mind, and there was something that she wanted from each and every one of them. Now, I had teased this in the last episode, curious to see if you'd catch on. Honestly, there were some great guesses, and a few even managed to pinpoint exactly what Tina was after. Traits. Each of the 13 target sims has an aspiration trait from a different aspiration category, and importantly this meant that they each had a different associated trait. Tina's objective, to claim each of these unique aspiration traits for herself. Importantly though, with the release of Enchanted by Nature, there's yet another aspiration category in the game, and so Tina now has an additional 14th target sim. But with a maximum of 8 sims in a household, Tina would need to focus on 7 sims at a time. Tina began settling into her retreat and unpacking her things, and it was then that she realized, with her focus now on trait stealing, she'd need someone else to run the Underworld Club. And so she headed over to her mother Sally's house in Henford-on-Bagley. She arrived at midday to find Sally dolled up in a little black dress jumping in a muddy puddle. What the hell? Tina thought as she approached her. And after some chatter, Tina found out that Sally had organized a date night with Dario. So what, Dario didn't know about it yet. Sally told Tina that she'd been manifesting since 3 AM and so it was going to happen. Dario was totally going to telepathically know, and according to Sally, he was picking her up at 7. Tina wasn't sure what to tell her mum, and so she decided to change the topic and go for a swing with her, before then asking Sally if she could unofficially look after the Underworld Club while she focused on a side project. Yes, came Sally's response before Tina had finished talking. After all, Sally loved power, and she thought she'd make for a great leader. Plus, it gave her even more of a reason to force Dario to visit her. Satisfied and hopeful that Sally wouldn't run the club into the ground, Tina then wished Sally all the best on her date with Dario and then headed off to work in the boss branch of the criminal career. It was a long night of work, and Tina arrived back home at midnight before fixing up her needs in the early hours of the morning. It was while fixing up her needs that she decided to quit her job, eager to put all of her focus on her new devious plan, and this kicked off in the early morning. To start, she headed off to the Landgrab's house in Oasis Springs, enjoying a shopping spree along the way where she picked up some cute new outfits that would help sell the relaxed retreat fantasy. Then after being allowed inside, Tina found Joffrey by the pool. She instantly reminded him of their previous romantic endeavors and hinted that there might still be a chance for him, for them. But he and Nancy would both have to sign up to her painter's retreat to find out. Instantly he was in, and so Tina asked him to join her household, and both he and Nancy joined, leaving their teenage son Malcolm to live alone in their mansion. Love that for him. Tina then changed and space-bended over to the Caliente's house. She instantly found Nina and went for the hard sell, complete with impressions, jokes, and outrageous stories. She was in too, and Tina persuaded her to also bring Don along to the retreat as well. You get the idea of what's happening, and as you'd expect, Tina then traveled to Darius, Angela, and Supriya's houses and used her charm to convince them to move in with her and come along to an exceptional painter's retreat. It's worth noting that I had around 270,000 simoleons before this started, but some Sims brought with with them their entire net worth. Honestly, I've realized that this whole episode is going to be a bit of a mess when it comes to household funds, and so to ensure that things remain fair, I'll be resetting my household funds to around 250,000 simoleons after this episode. Tina returned home just after 1 AM to a full house of 8, 7 of whom were just realizing that they'd all be sharing one bedroom and, perhaps more diabolically, one bathroom. But Tina wasn't concerned about the sleeping arrangements. After all, she had her own room and ensuite. Rather, she was concerned about getting her hands on some new traits. And by now you might be wondering how. Well, it all comes back to a Sim's soul's journey. Sims who reach the 5th stage of it, called Quite a Journey, are able to pass down the trait they received as a result of choosing their first aspiration. So in short, I needed everyone on the retreat to reach the 5th stage of their soul's journey. Know that even if a Sim's aspiration is later changed, the trait that they received from choosing their first aspiration remains the same. And also know that one of the best ways to progress in a Sim's soul's journey is to complete aspirations. And so the following morning, after some brekkie and flirting with Don, Tina swapped over to the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration. And she then had all 7 of her retreat housemates do the same. Yup, you better love color theory because everyone was about to live the painter life. To help make this a little easier, I needed to use the club system, because what better way to control a large group of Sims at once than through a club. Now you can probably tell that this club has some Britney inspiration. I should also flag that while it can only hold 6 members at the moment, that will increase to 8 in no time. The only club activity, to paint, and Tina instantly started a club gathering so that everyone could work on completing their Painter Extraordinaire aspiration. And of course, she enabled all of the easel's emotional auras to help put the painters in an inspired mood. Now, while oftentimes Sims did autonomously paint, I did still have to help them along a bit here and there to make them paint more often, and to have them all start 3 paintings while inspired. But all of the retreat goers' Painter Extraordinaire aspirations were coming along, and to help them further, Tina added the natural light trait to the lot. Admittedly, in hindsight, I should have also added the home studio trait to the lot, but unfortunately this went over my head at the time. Having earned some club points, Tina now also expanded the club to allow for 8 members, ensuring there was space for everyone at the retreat to join. On top of this, after Tina and the other club members spent more time painting and earning club points, Tina picked up the painting skill bonus perk, which greatly increases painting skill gain during a gathering. She also purchased the strongest inspired club vibe perk, making it easy to make the members inspired, which is the ideal mood for painting. Things were now running smoothly, and it only took a few days for Tina and everyone else on the retreat to complete the first stage of the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration, with Don being the last to finish. Yup, just like myself trying to wake up any time before 7 AM, Don was struggling a bit with the retreat schedule. Truthfully, I was also struggling with managing 8 Sims at once, even though I was heavily leaning on the club setup to steer the members in the right direction. But of course, there were times I had to get a bit more hands-on, like right now in completing the second aspiration stage. For this I needed all 8 Sims to paint 3 emotional paintings and sell 3 paintings to collectors or an art gallery. To help this along, Tina purchased the strongest flirty club vibe perk, allowing her to easily make both herself and the club members flirty, which in turn allowed everyone to create flirty emotional paintings. But while the flirty club vibe was absolutely leading to flirty emotional paintings, it was also leading to some rather saucy antics as well. As you might have suspected, Don was at the center of it all, playing the field with both Angela and Nancy. And of course the romantic connection was growing, with lips locking all over the retreat. But amidst this, flirty paintings were quickly coming to life, with some of the cutest even making it onto the walls of the retreat. And before long, Tina became the first to finish off the second stage of the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration. With many of the others lagging behind, Tina decided that maybe she could multitask and smash out a degree at the same time. After all, she still needed to complete all 7 of the Brightchester University degrees. And so to truly embrace the painting life, she enrolled into a distinguished fine art degree at Brightchester before launching straight into her university coursework. and while Tina studied, the retreat members painted. Over the next day, Tina got a solid head start on her coursework while the retreat members progressed through and completed the second stage of the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration. And just like Tina was making progress with her university coursework, Don Lothario was making romantic progress with Nancy and Angela. But neither of them knew that he was playing the field. Overnight, as Tina powered through her term paper, she also prepared to help everyone through the third stage of the Painter aspiration by setting the club vibe back to being inspired and planning for a day out at a museum. This is because to complete stage 3, everyone would need to craft 10 excellent paintings and view 3 pieces of art at a museum. The following morning, Tina headed off to her classes while everyone in the house painted away. And after she returned home, she got on top of her coursework before fixing up her needs, editing and submitting her term paper, and smashing out a few paintings herself. All the while, the rest of the retreat members slowly worked on their own artworks. Come the following morning, Joffrey set the kitchen on fire and then ran to safety while leaving everyone else to fend for themselves. What a guy. Thankfully, the fire was put out, and after a group breakfast and some hanging out in the kitchen, Tina decided that it was time for an outing at the Dead Grass Discoveries Museum within Brindleton Bay. Here, Tina led the group on an art tour, viewing various artworks around the museum with everyone while Don stank up the room. Before too long, every member had viewed at least 3 artworks at the museum, meaning that everyone completed another aspiration task. And with that ticked off, Tina then guided the group through the storm back home. Here, Tina worked on her term presentation while the rest of the group continued painting. And painting really was the theme of the next few days, with numerous artworks being made by the group. Tina, of course, joined in too, and miraculously, she was both staying on top of all of her uni work and keeping up with everyone who was completing the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration at the same time. Also, side note, the one shower I gave them was not cutting it, but I also wasn't going to give them another one. Amidst all the painting, Joffrey and Nancy rekindled their hatred of one another and got into a full-blown fight. Don, who was secretly but not so secretly seeing Nancy, then got involved and started bickering with Joffrey. Truthfully, this was not the way a tranquil retreat was meant to go, but as long as people kept painting, Tina really didn't care. And paint they did, all throughout the weekend and onwards. It honestly took me quite a while, although I must say it was a bit of a breakthrough when I started counting less on easels and more on crafting using the digitalistic sketchpads, which was a much faster way to have Sims pump out artworks. Throughout this time, Tina remained on top of her coursework and even started flirting a little with Don, who kept pretending that he didn't know how to put away a book as an excuse to hang out with her. Seriously though, I'm not sure what's going on with this bug. Tina continued with her classes and her coursework as the group made more artworks. And as the final members worked towards finishing off the third stage of the Painter aspiration, Tina also crafted a couple of artworks and sprinted to the finish as well. And with that, all 8 members had now completed the third stage of the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration. And there was really just one main task in the final stage, being to complete 5 masterpiece artworks. While the Inspired Club gathering would definitely help with this, there was also another thing that would greatly help, being the Creative Visionary reward trait, and so using the satisfaction points they'd gained while completing the first 3 stages of the aspiration, I had everyone at the retreat purchase this trait for 2,000 satisfaction points. Well, everyone besides Tina who already had it. Overnight, Tina fixed up her needs and refined her presentation. All the while, the others started painting in the hopes of crafting masterpieces. Well, most of the others. Don continued his romantic pursuit of Angela, with Tina now realizing that he was a sleaze. Truthfully though, she was unbothered by his playboy behavior. Perhaps because while he was messy, deep down she knew that she was even messier. Over the next few days, Tina continued going to uni and powering through her coursework while also giving her final uni presentation, which I will add involved the longest route I've ever seen. I was like, Tina, are you presenting or running a half marathon? Honestly, I think she was doing both. On top of this, Tina continued painting lots of artworks while the others did the same. Well, mostly. One second Don was into Angela, the next it was Nancy, and things seemed to really be heating up. but for the most part the focus was on making masterpieces, and if I'm honest it remained that way for quite a while, because as I found out, having 8 Sims paint 5 masterpieces each took a fair bit longer than I expected. I've heard that if Sims paint the same types of artworks over and over, then they specialize in that art style and are more likely to create masterpieces. And anecdotally, I do think that getting Sims to paint the same artwork types on repeat did help. It just still took forever. In hindsight, I wish I'd remembered to add the home studio trait to the lot, but at least with so many paintings being created, I got to keep some of my favorites and put them up on the walls. It honestly took so long that Tina completed her first semester of uni, finishing with A+ grades across the board as usual, before launching into another semester with 4 more subjects. Also yes, Tina's homework book is now invisible half the time, but trust me when I say that even if you can't see it, she's still doing it. Tina was well into the swing of university, and she'd even finished writing her draft term paper by the time the entire group, including her, had completed in full the Painter Extraordinaire aspiration. And of course this granted Tina and everyone else who completed the aspiration the expressionistic trait, allowing them to make emotional works regardless of their mood. But the big question was how everyone's soul's journey was coming along, and it really was a mix. Interestingly, Nancy had already reached the 5th stage of her soul's journey and was ready to pass on her trait. However, the rest of the group was all over the place, and they all sat somewhere between having completed the 2nd and 5th stage of their soul's journey. Thankfully, I had an idea to quickly improve this. With household funds now at almost 600,000 simoleons and every Sim having made a lot of money selling paintings they crafted, I had every Sim swap over to the fabulously wealthy aspiration. And in doing so, every Sim instantly completed at least 2 stages of it and improved their soul's journey further. It saw Don reach the all-important 5th stage and every Sim in the group pass at least the 3rd stage. But 5 Sims still had to continue progressing their soul's journey. Thankfully, Darius had a bucket list task to create 30 works which was almost finished, and so getting him to make a few more paintings and complete this brought him up to the all-important 5th stage of his soul's journey. Then I had the remaining 4 Sims, being Joffrey, Angela, Nina and Supriya, swap over to the Mansion Baron aspiration. And just like the fabulously wealthy aspiration, a range of stages instantly completed. And just like that, every Sim had progressed their soul's journey far enough to pass down a trait. I just had to wait for uni to settle down a tad for Tina so that she could slot in a time to claim them all for herself. Also know that I didn't have Tina herself swap over to the Mansion Baron aspiration. Seeing as I mentioned at the start that I'm kind of freezing Tina's funds for this episode, I felt completing this aspiration now would be a grey area that I didn't quite want to go into. It was now the weekend, and as Tina powered onwards with her uni coursework, a saucy romance was simmering in the background. And by background, I mean in front of everyone. And despite Nancy and Don both smelling like dumpsters, they decided it was the right time to amp up their romance and live the woohoo bush life. Good for them. Not so good for Angela. Or maybe good for Angela. You know, she can get out of that situationship. Overnight, Tina perfected her university term paper before submitting it, fought off a burglar with her freeze ray, and even played some video games with the others. Then come Sunday morning, it was trait-taking time. She set up a retreat graduation ceremony for the members, explaining that to graduate all they had to do was pass down their aspiration trait to her. From Don, Tina learnt the secret of being alluring. From Joffrey, she learnt the art of being a domestic goddess. Nina taught Tina her dastardly ways, which truthfully seemed a little silly considering all the chaos Tina had recently caused. Supriya then passed on to Tina the art of being affectionate to animals before Angela bestowed Tina with her creative musings. And following this, Darius taught Tina his voyaging secrets. It was all going so well, but there was just one problem. Nancy was refusing to pass their trait down to Tina, citing their ongoing rivalry. But Tina wasn't going to accept this, and she wasn't letting Nancy get away no matter how badly she had to pee. She upped the charm, using every bit of charisma she had, and even complimenting Nancy's outfit, which really wasn't appropriate for Tina's retreat graduation ceremony. It took a little while, but eventually their relationship mended to the point where Nancy agreed to pass down her business secrets to Tina, granting her the business savvy trait. Side note, this did happen right after Nancy peed her pants, and so Tina really didn't appreciate the accompanying hug. But nonetheless, Tina had now just acquired 7 new traits, and the first retreat was coming to an end. After an afternoon of winding down, everyone started leaving and heading back home. While it started out simple enough, Nancy and Don then dropped a bombshell. They wanted to move in together. Without even consulting Joffrey, Nancy told Don to move in with her, before kicking Joffrey to the curb and leaving him homeless. I know what you're thinking. What in the bold and the beautiful is going on? But it really happened. After Joffrey begged and agreed to stop trying anything romantically with her, Tina was nice enough to lend Joffrey some funds to at least buy an empty plot of land. Also yes, it's the middle of winter, but that's Joffrey's problem. Nina was the last to leave the retreat, and honestly it felt so weird playing with just Tina. But it wasn't going to be just Tina for long, because as Tina relaxed, she also started plotting her next move, with another 7 target sims and a bit of a different approach. After cleaning up the retreat, paying her bills, and attending her uni classes on Monday morning, Tina put part 2 of her plan into action. She firstly travelled to Bella Goth's house and told her all about her retreat, and Bella agreed to leave her newborns and attend it. Of course, this was just the beginning, with Tina also convincing Bob Pancakes, Paolo Rocca, Lily Feng, Serenity Waters, Lou Howell, and Iris Latipo to also join in on her retreat. Side note, Bob could not wait to get away from Eliza. By Monday night, all 7 of the remaining target sims had gathered at Tina's retreat, and as they settled in, Tina finalized her plan to further their soul's journey, all so that she could snatch their traits. The first step? Temporarily swap every member over to the Mansion Baron aspiration, which thanks to the grandness of the retreat saw a few aspiration stages and in some cases the entire aspiration automatically complete. And in turn, this kickstarted every member's soul's journey. Of course, this was an easy win, with a lot more progress still being needed. And rather than painting, Tina's new plan had fitness in mind. I mean, you might have already realized this considering that the top floor of the retreat has a gym. While Tina has already completed the bodybuilder aspiration, she decided to have all of her retreat goers swap over to it. And of course, to complement this, she also had every member purchase the Gym Rat reward trait for 500 satisfaction points. Importantly, this makes exercise fun for sims and also prevents their hygiene need from plummeting when doing it. I know what you're thinking, and yes, with this new focus, Tina's Retreat Club needed a total overhaul. Out with the old members, in with the new. Change that logo, change that name and description, and switch up those club activities. Basically change everything except for the Britney reference. Tina also purchased some new club perks as well, including the Fitness Skill Boost bonus and additionally the Strongest Energized Club Vibe perk. Everything was set up, and throughout the rest of the night, Tina caught up on her university coursework before she headed off to class in the morning. After she arrived back home, it was time to get the retreat goers working out, which happened instantly after Tina started a club gathering. She also ensured that this gathering was accompanied by an energized club vibe, and come morning Tina rushed off to give her final presentation, which again involved a comically long run, this time through a literal snowstorm. The things we do for good grades. Back at the retreat, the working out continued, and for the first stage of the bodybuilder aspiration, sims needed to work out for 8 hours in total, meaning that at this stage, all exercise was good exercise. As the retreat goers worked out, Tina knuckled down and completed her university coursework after giving her final presentation. But as the exercise continued, there was a problem rising up. As hot as he is, Lou is also a werewolf, and his fury was bubbling and getting ready to boil over. And so that's why Tina decided that now was a great time to round everyone up and visit Sky Fitness before getting the group to work out there, rather than at her retreat. Not only would Lou rampage at the gym and not her retreat, but it was also necessary for all members at the retreat to work out at a gym in order to complete the first stage of the bodybuilder aspiration. Thankfully, Tina wasn't too bothered by Lou's rampage, although some of the gym goers and retreat members were a little more concerned. Eventually, Lou's rampage ended, and additionally, every member on the retreat completed the first stage of the bodybuilder aspiration. And so after some more working out and some team basketball while everyone had critically low needs, Tina then led the group back home. They might have all been hating life, but their souls' journeys were progressing, which was really the only important thing. After arriving back home in the morning, Tina attended her classes and took her final exams while the rest of the retreat members slowly recovered their needs, with Lou starting a house fire while trying to cook. Side note, I feel like ever since that luck system was introduced, my Sims are obsessed with starting house fires. After Tina finished her final exam, she took a moment to clean and cook, and after the retreat goers enjoyed a meal and rested up a bit in every location other than the group bedroom, Tina then decided it was time to start a club gathering with an energized club vibe right as Father Winter visited. And thanks to a lot of effort, tears, and Father Winter's encouragement, this led to everyone on the retreat completing the second stage of the bodybuilder aspiration, with everyone simply needing to work out for 10 hours and go jogging for 2 in order to complete the third stage. The following morning, Tina attended her final classes for the semester, and later that afternoon her grades arrived, A+ across the board. And with her second semester finished, Tina had now earned her 7th degree, being a distinguished fine art degree, with her graduation scheduled for the following morning. With uni out of the way, Tina needed a new goal to work towards, and I wanted to take advantage of the fact that she was living that retreat life. And so I had her swap over to the inner peace aspiration. Tina had made progress on this previously, but she still needed to listen to lots of new age music and smell a whole heap of incense in order to complete the find peaceful surroundings task. And I purchased some incense and another radio to help this along. In the early morning as Lou rampaged, Tina gathered the group and travelled with them to sunny Sulani, and here she made everyone go jogging while she relaxed in the morning sun. Of course, Lou went on a rampage first, but eventually he settled down and went for a jog too. Every member carved out their own path and whizzed around on the sand before eventually Tina left them at the beach to attend her graduation ceremony over in Brightchester. While this was uni degree number 7, it was her first graduation at Brightchester Uni, seeing as all the others had been Foxbury degrees. And after the all-important hat toss, Tina looked around and pondered whether it could be time to attend Brightchester soon. Something about the snow falling on the campus grounds was just magical, and Tina felt like it might be time to make a sly move and ditch the Foxbury life in favour of a brighter future at Brightchester. After all, she literally had no more distinguished degrees to finish at Foxbury, and having completed a Brightchester degree from home, she'd kind of already ditched her Foxbury spirit. Tina returned home and enjoyed the aroma of incense while another club gathering took place. And after the group spent a few hours exercising, they all slowly but surely started completing the third stage of the bodybuilder aspiration. After the entire group had finished, it left only the final stage, and this required both level 10 fitness and to have a sim reach their maximum body potential. While some members such as Lou ticked this off instantly, others still had a little progress to go. Thankfully I had a plan. Soccer balls. And yes, it was absolutely a low-budget Oprah car moment as everyone got a soccer ball. Now if you didn't know, juggling a soccer ball is one of the fastest ways in the entire game to have a sim both lose weight and gain muscle at the same time. It's so effective that it honestly feels a bit broken. Plus it trains up the fitness skill too, so it's a great way to help Sims progress towards maxing out the skill, reaching their maximum body potential and completing the bodybuilder aspiration. And if you were wondering where Tina was throughout all of this, well, she was living her best life listening to new age music and smelling incense. All the retreat members' newfound addiction to juggling a soccer ball continued over the next few days until eventually every single one of them had completed the bodybuilder aspiration in full. Side note that the workouts were briefly interrupted by Lou rampaging, but you know, everyone was kind of used to it by now. And with all of the retreat goers having completed the bodybuilder aspiration, the focus then turned to their all-important soul's journey. Interestingly, every single member was sitting between having completed the 4th and 5th stage of their soul's journey, yet no one had yet reached that all-important 5th stage. Thankfully, I had a few easy wins, namely Bob and Bella's bucket lists. You see, Bob wanted to bask in fitness glory after reaching level 10 fitness, and seeing as he already had the level, I had him use a mirror to complete this instantly, and in doing so, this allowed him to reach the all-important 5th stage of his soul's journey. Meanwhile, Bella simply wanted to go for an hour jog at a park, which was easy enough to make happen with a quick trip to the park in Willow Creek. And just like Bob, this brought her to the all-important 5th stage of her soul's journey. But this still left 5 more Sims that hadn't yet reached the 5th stage of their soul's journey, and I felt like the key to easily having them reach it was the leader of the pack aspiration that focused on clubs. I simply had every member swap to the aspiration and purchase a random club perk, which saw them all instantly complete the 1st stage. And importantly, this saw both Lou and Serenity reach the 5th stage of their soul's journey. I then had Tina start a club gathering for a while, and made sure that Lily, as well as both Iris and Paolo, were constantly exercising, which is of course the one and only club activity. All the while, Tina enjoyed listening to her new age music and smelling incense to further her inner peace aspiration. Importantly, during this time, Tina had managed 48 hours of stress-free bliss without having become angry, tense, scared, embarrassed, or uncomfortable, and so she completed the maintain harmony part of the inner peace aspiration. As Lily, Iris, and Paolo continued working out and thus engaging in club activities, one by one they also finished off the 2nd stage of the leader of the pack aspiration, and this saw all 3 of them reach the desired 5th stage of their soul's journey. And with that, everyone on the retreat was now graduation ready. Overnight, Tina listened to more new age music, continued smelling incense, and additionally set up the graduation ceremony for the retreat goers before launching into it early on Monday morning, with Tina again explaining to everyone that in order to graduate they had to pass down their aspiration trait to her. From Bella, Tina learnt her gregarious or sociable ways. From Paolo, she learnt the secrets to having a high metabolism. Serenity handed over to Tina a copy of her spa membership card, before Lou shared werewolf stories with her and passed down the Lunar Confidant trait. And after Bob then taught Tina about the essence of flavor, I realized that I had a slight problem. Yup, I had made a mistake. When it was Lily Fang's turn to pass down her trait, she had no trait to hand over. You see, Lily has both the business savvy and the domestic traits, which had already been handed to Tina by Nancy and Joffrey Landgrab. Where I'd gone wrong was that I thought Lily had the home turf trait that's from aspirations in the location category. I'm pretty sure I'd made the mix up because both domestic and home turf share the same trait icon. But in short, this meant that Lily didn't have a trait to hand down and that I'd have to work in a way to obtain the home turf trait down the track. This wasn't my only problem though. Iris, who had the fairy influence trait, also couldn't pass hers down to Tina. There was simply no option. However, with fairy aspirations only just being added to the game, I think this is more of a bug or oversight situation. Either way, I'll have to hope that this gets fixed and try to have another sim pass down this trait later on. So it might not have been the 7 traits that Tina was banking on, but she'd still gained 5 new traits during the ceremony, and it was time for the retreat to conclude, with the retreat goers slowly but surely moving out of the retreat and back to their homes as snow fell in early spring. And this left Tina all alone in her large retreat. Her only regret, she hadn't told Paula to sing to her. Points if you get the reference. Upon reflection, Tina did realize something. She may have lured people to a retreat with evil intentions, but in the end, she genuinely helped them find purpose in their lives, and it had felt good. Kind of. Was the pendulum finally swinging the other way? Tina felt like she'd never be a goody two-shoes, but she was seriously wondering if it was time to be a bit less evil. With the retreat all to herself, Tina unwinded, and after smelling incense a few more times, she ticked off the find peaceful surroundings part of the inner peace aspiration. And as this was the last part of the aspiration to complete, she finished it off in full and was awarded with the clear perspective trait. This allows Tina to click on herself and have a moment of clarity, granting her a happy moodlet and making her temporarily immune to negative emotions. A pretty awesome trait, I must say. Tina spent the rest of the day relaxing and living her best tranquil retreat life, reflecting on how far she'd come. In just this episode, Tina had completed 2 additional aspirations, and she had now completed a rather impressive 39 aspirations in total. This episode also saw Tina earn 14 new traits, and she was now sitting at 112 traits in total. Additionally, with another degree earned, Tina now had 7 in total, and of course her skills were coming along very nicely as well, with her having maxed a mammoth 25 major skills and additionally 5 minor skills. Plus, she's made significant progress in many others. Not to mention that multiple collections are well underway and that she's reached the top of quite a few careers as well. It was overnight while Tina relaxed and painted a couple of artworks that she received a call by none other than her mother Sally. Tina, hey! So the club's going totally great, but like, remember all those artworks and sculptures you stole? Well, I've received word that the authorities are totally onto you and you maybe definitely have to go into hiding, Sally said. Tina was like, are you serious? Ugh, when have I ever not been serious? Came Sally's response. Tina didn't have words, so she just said okay and hung up. She had to move fast, and she had 2 ideas of how she could make herself disappear. She could get a fake ID and go undercover as a student in Brightchester, or she could vanish into a life off the grid and live on a remote island in Sulani. And you'll be the ones deciding. A poll will be going live on the community tab of this channel in the next few days. Be sure to vote and determine Tina's next move. Also, if you loved the retreat used in this video, then I'll be popping it up onto the gallery, so grab it if you want to use it yourself. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, then give this video a thumbs up to support the series and consider subscribing to stay up to date with it. As always, I hope you have an amazing day. See you later.